Hey YouTube, Kevin here. Today we're going to be analyzing the drum solo from Carry On by Avenged Sevenfold. I covered this song about 5 years ago. Interesting fact, I uploaded the video on the anniversary of the day that the Rev died. So with that, let's jump into the solo. The intro groove is essentially, I think it's called a polymeter. I could very well be wrong. Your snare drum is going to be playing at a certain pulse, and then your right hand on the crash cymbal is going to be playing at a different pulse. Let me just play it slowly without the bass drum for you, so it's going to sound like this. Now you're going to add in the bass drum, and it's going to accent the snare drum hit that is matching the crash cymbal. So obviously when you play the real song, you're going to be, hitting the crash cymbal decently hard. I'm not. I'm going to try to quiet things down so you can actually hear what I'm doing note by note. After that, you're going to play a basic right, left on the snare, and then right, right on the cymbals. And when you do that cymbal work, you're always going to be adding in some bass drum notes just to give it a little boost. Putting it all together, yeah. The next groove is a little bit trickier, and I'm gonna walk you through it note by note. First of all, your right hand is just going to be alternating between the China cymbal and the floor tom. For the sake of this exercise, for the rest of the time, I'm gonna be playing it on the ride, just because it's a little bit less loud. But yeah, you're playing it on the China. And your snare drum is going to alternate between matching with the cymbal and the tom. Okay, so it's gonna sound like. Now what we're going to do is we're going to form triplets using our left hand on, I'm going to use the rack tom. Feel free to use the same floor tom, or if you have an extra one you can do that. I think that's what I did in the video. Doesn't really matter, it's purely preference. There are two different types of triplets you're going to be making. One of them will start with cymbal, left, right on the toms. The second one will be right, left, cymbal. So you're either going to be playing or now all we need to do is add in the bass drum notes. So the bass drum is just going to accent each triplet, and then the snare drum hit as well. So you're either going to have, or you're going to have. Now all we have to do is combine those two grooves, okay? So we're going to have something like. Put everything together with what we have in the solo so far. So we have. So to come out of that China groove, you're going to do, it's basically just a right left on whichever tom you want. I think I play it on the rack tom here. So right left on the rack tom, then da-da-do on the cymbal. So then we're going to go into the flam part of the solo. So a flam, if you didn't know, just it's a right and then a left, very quickly in succession so that it almost sounds like you're playing them at the exact same time. So you start off with one flam hit on the snare, and then I think, 6 more on the tom. So it makes sense to go descendingly in terms of frequency, so from like your higher pitched toms to your lower pitched toms. Again, just mess around, whatever sounds best to you, in my opinion, is what you should go with. You're also going to accent those flams with bass drum note hits, okay? So it should sound like, to get out of that part, you basically do a little roll on your floor tom. I think it's 6 hits, so right, left. And you again accent that with the bass drum the same way you did with the flam. So. That's the majority of the solo. Now we have to come out of the solo. So that transition out of the solo is really just a build-up. So you're going to be playing a continuous right-left double bass pattern that you've heard a million times in metal songs. So just keep that pulse going, and then over top that you're going to play that part together, you get. Alright, and then after that, it's just a build up using a snare roll, a right left snare roll. Again, you want to have that continuous double bass drum pulse. Let me play that whole end transition part. That's actually the entire drum solo. After that, you just go back into one of like the guitar solo grooves. I think I'm just going to play for you the solo somewhat slowly so that you get a bit of a feel for it. Alright, and that's the drum solo. My tips for practicing would be slow it down at first if you can't get a certain part. Just play it slowly, build up. Maybe don't do the bass drum, just work on the hands and then try to include the bass drum. Take it slow, get that limb independence, and then once it feels right, start speeding up the tempo. I would also advise probably watching my drum cover, just plugging the views here. You can see what I'm doing. You can really see how it's played in real time. Other than that, just practice. Play it every single day until you get it. And enjoy the drumming. I mean, this is an awesome song to play. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. I will try my best to answer them. Oh, and one last thing, if you really want to, you could look up a drum tab. I don't recommend learning that way. I usually like learning by ear and by practice. You can learn through a drum tab, so that's a Google search if you are interested. But until next time, this has been Kevin Wade teaching you the drum solo from Carry On, and I hope that you carry on having a nice day.